I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right. All right, let us continue with our transmission regarding the next phase of open contact. As we transmitted in the last transmission, the idea is to prepare yourselves for the introduction of extraterrestrials within the course of the next 5 of your years. Assuming that each and every one of you have begun to ponder what that would be like in your lives, how you would respond to those kinds of changes in your reality, we will continue now to provide a little bit more information about the steps that may follow with the idea of open contact. However, first, we would like to address something that was brought up in the last transmission regarding the idea of what contact would be like with respect to a couple of expressions of your entertainment. It was brought up of the contrast and the comparisons between Star Wars and Star Trek. The idea is that Star Wars is representative of something that happened millions of years ago in the old Orion systems, where there was a lot of oppression, suppression, rebellion, struggle, strife, negativity, fear. The idea, as we have said, is that there are many stories playing out on Earth to help finish some of those old cycles. So the ancient Orion story is here, which is one of the reasons why, intuitively and collectively, Star Wars was created, to bring that back up into your consciousness so that you could process it, deal with it, begin to let it go. So, Star Wars represents symbolically your past. Star Trek represents symbolically your future, where you are moving into the idea of a unity, an exploration, an experience, a connection between many different species in the galaxy. The idea, of course, is that eventually you yourselves, humanity itself, will venture out among the stars with the assistance of extraterrestrial technology to become other civilizations' UFOs, to take on the process of letting them know that they are not alone in the universe. You will encounter many different kinds of civilizations, just as we have. Many of you will specialize in exactly how you approach these civilizations and become first contact specialists yourselves in the far future, in the decades to come. We have in the past talked about the idea of a civilization not so very far away from your own that will be, in a sense, a kind of test case for you. We have left this civilization alone. You will be the ones to make first contact with them as humanity, so that you can be trained as to how to go about that particular process, to understand, to observe, to watch, to study, to learn what their civilization is all about. So in your ships, you can begin to decide whether it is and when it is appropriate for you to approach them, how it might be appropriate for you to initiate first contact with the dispensation of information, with sightings, so on and so forth. Programs will be laid out. You will plan, you will consult, you will confer, you will decide together in councils how you will approach new civilizations who you feel may be ready for the very beginnings of open contact for their civilization. Now, you will do it differently than we have done it, for we are evolved to a point where we have done this in a very different way, but you will have your way of doing this. and they will get to know you as a species and become familiar with themselves through your eyes eventually. The idea, going back to Star Wars and Star Trek, as to what it is that was and what it is that will be, we remind you that even in the creation of the entertainment of Star Wars, to give you your first clue that it's about your past and not your future, it begins a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So you know intuitively it is about where you came from and not where you're going to. Now again, there are, as I said, many stories playing out, finishing up. The story of Atlantis, the story of the ancient Martian civilization, which many of your souls incarnated upon long time ago. The destruction of their ecosystem through meteoric bombardment and other natural catastrophes rendered the planet relatively uninhabitable over a period of time. And so the souls began to incarnate, when viable, upon the earth. So you're finishing out that story as well. Those are three of the main stories that are seeking a different outcome, that are experiencing a process that can lead to a more positive outcome than was experienced, linearly speaking, in history. You come together because, again, the earth is the kind of school where stories can be told and stories can be played out in a different way according to your choices, according to your ability to transform. Now, in the years following open contact on your planet, after the first contact specialists, such as myself, have done their job, so to speak, others from our society and other societies will also be of assistance in the process of allowing you to acclimate to the idea of interacting as a society with extraterrestrial beings. Next will come what we term the social engineers. When this channel began to bring our society through, our energy through, even though I made the initial connection due to our agreement from Spirit, one of the first beings that the channel brought through was a female from my society that was termed Anima, for those who will remember. Anima is a colleague of mine, and she is a social engineer. So she will come among you with others of her kind to help you understand the idea of social engineering, which basically translates to the concept of planetary management, since you will now begin to understand your world, your entire world, as your home, and begin to understand with new technologies how to manage things on a global scale for the benefit of humanity. So planetary management will be the domain of the social engineers from our society and others who will come to aid and assist you in understanding how to transform easily, beneficially, your society, sociologically, politically, economically, so on and so forth, to distribute the idea of sustenance in a more efficient way, to experience the idea of the distribution of free energy in a more efficient way, to experience the idea of yourselves truly as global citizens, eventually retaining the idea of your cultural differences and validating and cherishing them, but erasing the idea of any political borders that you have drawn out on your planet in the years to come, in the decades ahead, so that you may travel freely around your world, so that you may understand the entire world as your home, to gain global consciousness, and that is the next step in humanity progressing towards becoming Homo galacticus. Because as you spread out among the stars eventually, you will look back to Earth and cherish Earth and preserve Earth as your true home, so that you have that basis, you have that anchor point, so that you know that it is always there for you for quite a while, for millennia to come, until such time as it is no longer necessary for the evolution of your species, and as we said, you turn it over to other species to take advantage of the cycles of Earth for their own exploration, for their own life path, for their own soul's journey. And so it will be a progression of expansion, a progression of connection, a progression of awareness, more and more introductions of all the different ways that different species within the galaxy have of expressing themselves, from things that you might consider relatively ordinary but different, to those you would consider to be extremely exotic and almost unimaginable. We have mentioned a few of these species over time, and you will be given the opportunity to understand how many more species there are, even just in your own galaxy. There are literally millions of civilizations you have yet to discover. It is a rich treasure trove of different perspectives, different experiences, different understandings, different awarenesses, different expressions of the one source of all that is, so that you may find connectivity and communion, even though you may have extremely different understandings and experiences of how you express the idea of your reflection of all that is. There will always be that common bond on the soul level, because all souls are the same. Our souls are the same souls as your souls, the same type of souls. We all go home to the spirit world. That is where we are right now with all of you. We are playing this game in various ways in what you call physical reality, to learn, to grow, to expand existence and creation itself in all the ways that it can. But we are all the same kind of soul, all the same kind of reflection of all that is. The validation of all our differences is what will create unity among us all. To respect, to validate, to cherish as precious the differences, the different perspectives that allow you to start functioning when you connect them all together as a true holistic system. To be able to know that whatever you need exists somewhere that can be accessed, so that there is no want, so that there is no shortage, so that there is no lack. When you allow yourself to connect to all that is available to you among the stars, so that you are no longer experiencing yourselves as an isolated world, the abundance is beyond imagining to what you will have access to. The first gifts that you will be given, as precious and wondrous as they may be, will pale by comparison to what you can eventually access throughout the cosmos. You have yet to stretch your imaginations to encompass what is out here. This will be the joy of discovery, the joy of expansion of your species, to discover all that awaits you on your cosmic path, now that you have arrived at a point on your journey as a planetary species to an interplanetary one, to an interstellar one, and eventually to an intergalactic one, and eventually still to an interuniversal one, a multiversal species, multiple dimensions of experience. What awaits you is within you. Right now, allow us to help you unfold it, to help you walk that path. It is your choice. And the choice, for many of you, has been made. And that is why you will experience something very different in the introduction of open contact within the next 5 years. We thank you profoundly, deeply, with great appreciation and gratitude for allowing us, through you, to expand our galactic family. For you are precious to us, and we owe you a lot. In return, I ask you now, in what way may we continue to be of service to you? Please begin with your dialogues and questions, if you wish, or shall I say, if you dare. Just to give you a bit of mystery.
Aloha, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
Well, I feel really honored to be here. I want to thank you, and I do dare to ask some questions that might be a little different, and I appreciate your willingness to listen to them.
I am always willing to listen. We will see if we are willing to answer.
Certainly. Well, I wanted to thank you for introducing my partner to me. He decided to travel to Hawaii because he was listening to one of your transmissions, and you said that everything seems to happen more quickly there. And we very quickly met. He introduced me to you. 7 months later, we were pregnant, and now we have a 4-year-old daughter.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you. Also, it's significant that a week from today I turn 40, and I'm at a very fortuitous time, as you mentioned, these cycles of 40. So
Yes.
a little bit about my background and what I'm intending to learn from our interaction today. It's, of course, to serve humanity in its highest. I'm a physician by profession, and I have started working for the last 12 years plus with psychedelic medicines that are here to expand consciousness, to help
Yes.
ascend humanity.
The teachers of the earth.
Yes. I feel very honored because I'll be moving into a position, my dream job, I call it, where my goal is to bring 5-MeO-DMT and psilocybin to the masses as a safe and therapeutic medication for expanding and exploring consciousness.
It seems you already have several clients.
It seems like you're familiar with these medicines. What can you tell me about them that can help me serve in my highest?
When appropriately guided, they allow the human consciousness to expand into other dimensions, other realms of spirit, other vibrational frequencies, and allow you to make genetic connections, open up the markers, the genetic markers in your system, so that they are all aligned in a way to allow you to make more connections with more awareness and more consciousness to the spirit realm, your spirit guides, your angelic team, soul family, so on and so forth, plus the consciousness of the beings, the sentient beings that surround you on earth, the animals, the trees, the elementals, so on and so forth. So they open up doorways to other forms of communication with other levels of consciousness that exist in your reality, but in general remain invisible to most of humanity who don't allow those doors to open.
Thank you.
So that it creates a new kind of open contact with all the different beings and species of your own planet.
Wow. What are some of the genetic markers that I might study?
Look to the mitochondrial DNA. This is one of the strongest ways to understand where you are going and where you've come from. And it is also one of the strongest symbols that represents the idea of the balancing of feminine energy in your society at this time.
Would you be more specific about where in the mitochondrial DNA one might look?
No.
Thank you. That is very helpful.
Anything else?
Oh, yes.
One moment. In what area will you practice?
I've been having a clinical practice right now where I am responsible for holding the space and container, helping individuals prep, and then administering the medicine, specifically ketamine.
I am asking you what location on your planet.
I'm in New Orleans, and I'll be relocating to Madison, Wisconsin to work with a nonprofit institute there.
What is the name of your child?
Jasmine?
Another name from nature, like the hybrid children that will come to live among you. Are you planning to have another child?
Yes.
By the name of Madison?
That would be beautiful.
Since that's where you're moving?
Yeah.
All right.
Can you tell me more about my children?
As I said, they are a new species. They are more genetically connected. They are more willing to remember who they are. They are more willing to remember themselves as spirits, as souls, having a human experience. So learn from them as they grow. Learn from who they are speaking with that you may not see at first, bringing through information that can be of great help and great assistance to your practice. For they have made an agreement to help you in this way.
Thank you. Would you be willing to tell me more about my lineage?
No.
Am I a hybrid?
All humans are hybridized. That's what Homo sapiens are. Remember, long ago, the Anunnaki introduced their genetic material into the natural hominid that existed and evolved on your planet to create Homo sapiens sapiens. So you are all hybridized. And you have been hybridized since then, especially those that are part of the hybridization program. Your genetics have been, shall we say, refined to allow you more ability to connect to spirit, to allow you more ability to connect to each other telepathically, emotionally, compassionately, empathetically. So continue. Again, this is one of the reasons why we give you all the formula. It helps enhance what has already been given to you genetically. It helps raise those frequencies and allows you and your genetics to operate in an optimum fashion. Is this helping you?
This is very helpful. A question about that with the elements for life. Why is light not included?
Which elements are you referring
For
to?
sustaining life, air, water, sleep, and so forth.
Well, because you are light, but we're
Okay.
talking about the idea of what helps you thrive as a physical being.
I see. I was visited by a spacecraft in 2015 over the water in Palos Verdes, and I would like to know more about that encounter. Do you have any information about who visited me, the intent, and...
Even though it was over the water, it was what you call a dry run. For what we have described in the last transmission about UFOs appearing just offshore over water, so that you get a chance to simply observe them at arm's length until you are comfortable. Then they will come closer.
Is there an ET named Kasabian trying to make contact with me?
You give the names that are resonant vibrational symbols that mean something to you, that align with you. Most don't have names as you understand them. But you can use that as a vibrational symbol if it links you to that particular entity or frequency. One moment. You are very strongly connected to Pleiadian energy, and it is probably a Pleiadian craft that you saw.
Yes, that would make sense.
There are some birds in the audience. Or should we say avian dinosaurs? Will that do?
A few more questions specific.
No, not a few.
Okay. I'm very interested in the biological and belief-based reasoning behind many physical conditions.
Yes.
Would you be willing to tell me more about the biological and belief-based basis behind severe myopia and a few other conditions, please?
Well, it depends on the person and the reason they may have created that for themselves.
My severe myopia.
I cannot discuss health issues. It is not allowed. But the idea in general is to look at the symbology of what it is you are experiencing that you otherwise wouldn't learn if you hadn't that condition.
Right.
That's how to look at it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Would you be willing to share a song from your culture?
At another time.
Okay. I'm very curious about what, if anything, you sing your young ones to sleep with. Some of our nursery rhymes don't resonate.
We don't
with me.
sleep.
What you sing or how you communicate comfort to them.
They are comforted by our existence, by our love. Understand that we are, in our civilization, one family. I don't mean genetically, although to some degree I do. But we are one family telepathically. The adults are the parents of all. The children are the children of all. We are telepathically bonded. No one is ever out of our sight. So there is that great blanket of comfort of knowing that you are always within the loving cocoon of our entire society, no matter where you go. You are always connected. That itself, in a sense, is a song. Now, you have had music played here, lovingly, wonderfully, by the beautiful individual that has given you the sounds of the flute and the sounds of the bowls. And you could say perhaps that you were bowled over by it. And that in repeating the flute from day to day, you experienced some flute loops. In our society, we do have percussion, we do have wind instruments, and we do have string instruments. They would sound very simple to you, however, and are usually based on the idea of beats of 3. However, even though it would sound very simplistic to your ears, because we can hear more than you can, it sounds like an orchestra to us, because we can hear more notes than you can. So if that gives you some idea of the music that you would experience in our world, then there you go.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And are you good day?
I'm terribly excited to be
Oh,
speaking
terribly excited.
Yes. And with imminent contact, I want to be ready, and I wanted to ask you about best practices physically.
Follow the formula.
I thought you were going to say that, but I have a specific question about
Yes.
our hearts.
Yes.
If I encounter an electrical field that's so much different than my human body, are there things I can do before contact to strengthen my heart, my electrical system?
Be of service to humanity in whatever way you are passionate about doing so to open up your heart and allow you to become more vibrationally compatible with those beings whose frequency you may not be compatible with right now.
Oh.
Because
Okay.
it's all about being of service. It's all about connecting on that deep level of the heart, of the spirit, of the soul to others. It's about expressing compassion.
Okay.
Yes, does that help you?
It does help because I practice it with animals. I have deer come through my field and
All right.
maybe raccoons, and I try to, and birds. and I-
Animals are a good practice.
Yes.
Now you can perhaps try it on humans. Remember that animals, not that they are literally angels, but animals come from the angelic realm. They are here to give you unconditional love, unconditional support, and unconditional reflection of whatever processes you may be going through, so that you can learn from them what you need to pay attention to within yourself. So giving them love can be reflected back to you to make sure you give yourself the same unconditional love, and to others as well, as you express your compassion in service to others in humanity.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I have one more question. When I was at the end of my third pregnancy, I lived in a cabin in a remote area of the forest. And one day, what looked to be a government car drove up, and two men in suits got out and came to my door. They knocked. I answered the door, and that is all I can remember about this event. And also, I'm Rh negative. I don't know if that had something to do.
Yes, it does. We will not go deeply into the idea of the Rh negative factor, though it is connected to some ancient genetics and extraterrestrial origins. But of course, the idea is that those individuals were not what you think they are, and you had an experience that was erased from your memory, an encounter that you will remember in time.
Because my daughter is here. She's in the audience, and she was the one maybe they were checking up on.
Oh, they were checking up on all of you.
That's good to know.
Remember, those that belong to the hybridization program, this exists in family lines for generations and generations and generations.
Okay. And my last question is, I live in the Black Hills of South Dakota, and could you tell me if there are vortexes there? And
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
There is also a portal that leads to another dimension that has to do with, one moment. All right, they said, sorry, not ready. But there's another portal there that leads to a different dimension. Go explore, see what you find.
All right. I will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Namaste, Bashar.
Good day.
Can you tell me what is the purpose of insomnia, if there is one?
Well, insomnia can be created in many different ways. It might be the result of not following your natural biological cycle and being asleep when you need to rest, being awake when you really need to be awake and have energy to be awake. So disconnecting from your societal idea of when you should be asleep and when you should be awake can help you find your natural biological rhythm so that you get the rest that you need, so that you make the connections that you need. But if you also are learning to make connections in the idea of spirit, higher mind, and soul, you may not necessarily need as much sleep, because that's fundamentally what your sleep is for. To re-energize, recharge your batteries, so to speak, so that you can continue to perpetuate the illusion of physical reality as being real. Remember, physical reality is a projection of consciousness, and it has to constantly be maintained. That's why you know it's not real, because it deteriorates. That which is real is eternal. That which deteriorates is an illusion. So the idea is that you sleep, you reconnect, you recharge your batteries, you wake up in the morning, and you recreate the idea of physical reality for as long as your battery charge lasts, so to speak. But is the insomnia causing you to feel exhausted or tired, or are you simply awake and it's not having any detrimental effect?
It makes me crazy.
It makes you crazy because you think you need to sleep, or because it is exhausting you?
Well, both.
All right, so you are exhausted.
Yes.
All right. Are you acting on your passions in life?
Yes.
And what is that?
I'm a teacher. I'm doing a lot of practices. doing a lot of spiritual work.
All right. Thank you. And what is your greatest fear?
Of not being able to function.
Why are you afraid of not being able to function? Where did you learn that idea?
Because then somebody else will need to take care of me.
So you are afraid of needing someone else to take care of you? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Why is that such a bad thing?
Because I need to be self-sufficient all the time.
Why?
I know where you're going with it.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
That's one of the reasons why you are not sleeping. Because in a sense, you're almost afraid that you won't necessarily wake up as yourself. That you will wake up needing help. That you will wake up and not be vital. That you will wake up and not have energy. That something will have changed in a negative way. You are being overly vigilant on your life. You are being a watchdog, stressing yourself out that something might go wrong, generating stress in your body in that way, and thus preventing you from being capable of resting, because you are afraid, symbolically speaking, that if you rest, you will not necessarily wake up the same. Do you understand?
Yes.
Are you willing to understand that you have an exit point? Everyone does. You have already determined what that exit point will be.
No?
Everyone determines when they will die. You will not die before your time. Your birth angels will see to it.
I'm not afraid of that, I think.
You are afraid of being dead while you're alive.
Yes.
So you are afraid of a kind of death.
Yes.
You are afraid of not being vital.
Yes.
But the fear is what saps your strength and creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it is the fear, if anything, that will sap you of vitality and require that you need the kind of assistance that you say you are afraid of. So you are taking yourself down that road. If that's not the road you prefer to go down, then don't look where you don't want to go.
What should I do?
Feel the vitality of your life, your passion. Focus on that positive energy and know that that is the energy of your soul, the energy of your essential being. And stop being afraid that something is going to deprive you of it, because only you can do so. So you have simply been taught to believe that this energy and this vibration can go away, that it can be taken from you somehow, unexpectedly. So you are overly vigilant, but it is the overvigilance that is causing the stress that will actually bring about what you're afraid of. You need to understand how to surrender to the flow in your life. You have to redefine the idea of surrendering. Surrendering is not giving up control. It is surrendering to the control that is built into you automatically. You have to go with the flow and know that and trust that and be that flow. Knowing that that flow will always take you exactly where you need to go. You need to understand how reality works. How you are creating your reality, how your beliefs create your experience, how your fears bring about what you fear you will experience. You need to relax into your true self and not be afraid that you're going to trick yourself. In a sense, what you're saying is you don't trust yourself. So you have to trust that you are a vital human being who is compassionate, following her passion in teaching and the other things, that you are being of service to humanity, and that nothing is going to take that away from you except you. Do you understand this?
It will take time to...
Why will it take time?
Because
One moment. That's a perfect example of what we're talking about. Do you understand that negative beliefs need to perpetuate themselves just like positive beliefs do? Do you understand what we have said about how beliefs work? Yes, no, maybe?
Maybe.
All right. Without believing something to be true, you will not have a physical reality experience, because physical reality isn't real. It's the product of what you believe is true. So the idea is that any negative belief you have needs to perpetuate itself. And the way that beliefs perpetuate themselves is by telling you stories and telling you things that make sure you will not let them go. So when we talk about the idea that you are creating with your fear-based belief, the idea that you will not continue to be viable or vital, and I ask you if you understand, and you say, it will take time to understand, the phrase, it will take time, is coming from the negative belief so that you will not immediately let it go. It's making you believe that it takes time for you to understand what we're saying. So that's a resistance to change.
Yes.
Do you see what we're saying?
Yes.
It's a resistance to change. You have to hear what comes out of your mouth, listen to what goes through your mind, and go, wait a minute. It's not an absolute fact that it will take time for me to understand this, or that it will take much time at all if it takes any time. It will take the right amount of time, the perfect amount of time for the process I need to go through to have a deeper appreciation of what is being said and what I need to understand about how things work in my life. But you don't have to succumb to the idea that, oh, this is just going to take a lot of time. That's the negative belief telling you a story. Tell them it will take a lot of time. That way you don't have to do anything about it right now. And that way I can hang around for a while. And you can keep believing all the stories that I tell you, even though you don't like what I'm saying. But I'm going to make you believe it's going to be hard to change. That's one of the aspects of the story that I'm telling you. It's hard to change. Things take a long time. You will struggle to understand this. These aren't facts, they're stories. They're beliefs. You can change a belief. Do you believe that?
Yes.
All right. So the timing is up to you. It depends on when you know you can understand what's being said about how this works, and know that that is just as real as any experience you have ever had that you don't prefer. So, I'm going to tell you this. You will have help over the next 3 days learning to drift off to sleep. A deep, relaxing, informative, comfortable, restful, and energizing sleep. Over the next 3 days, just when you lie down, open up, ask your spirit guides, ask your angelic team, ask your soul family for help to let you relax and let go. This is what we mean by relax. Relaxing your grip on any fear-based belief about being vital so that you can truly get in touch with your vital core, your essential self. And then you will find you will start drifting off to sleep because you will no longer, over those 3 days, be afraid. All right?
Thank you so much.
Pleasant dreams to you.
Thank you. Once you said there are questions you are surprised nobody asked you. So what would be the number one question nobody asked you, and the answer, of course?
Well, only just in the last transmission did anyone bother to ask why this happens. It's taken years for someone to ask that question, to be curious, what is that about? Why does that happen? And there are a couple of reasons. Sometimes the channel's body will simply translate energy that is not translated into words in some other way, through motions of the body, through the idea of this, but sometimes it is actually representative of communication going on between myself and other beings that is simply not being translated into your language. So it took years for someone to ask, what's happening there? So that's an example.
Thank you. Of all the practices you gave us during these decades, which one would you suggest for me to do?
Follow the formula.
No, I'm following the formula.
That's it. We have given you a lot of other permission slip suggestions and told you that it's up to your imagination to adapt them and alter them in whatever way works for you. So it doesn't really matter what technique you use. The primary fundamental idea is follow the formula, which includes being passionate about any particular permission slip you're attracted to use. So that's included within it. So following the formula is the fundamental answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One more question.
All right, thank you.
You can communicate with us telepathically.
Not always, no.
Not always?
Because you're not of the same frequency. Remember, telepathy is being on the same wavelength with one another. You're not reading each other's minds, you're reading your own mind, but you're having the same thoughts as someone else you're on the same wavelength with. That's why we're telepathic within our own civilization, and why sometimes we can be telepathic with humanity when you get your conscious mind out of the way, and you are truly in love. Because that's why people who are in love often know exactly what each other is thinking, and they don't have to talk about it, they just know. Because they're on the same frequency, they're on the same wavelength, and they're having the same thoughts at the same time, because it is those thoughts that go with that frequency and no others. So we are sometimes synchronistically telepathic with you, but not always, because you don't always open the door for us, because you're not always on the same wavelength that we are.
I was wondering if maybe you can send to all of us here who are prepared to receive some pictures of your ship, of your civilization, of yourself, of your art, of...
Yes, well, we have described much of this before. Is there some specific thing you would like to know about our civilization?
Well, can you send us telepathically some pictures right now?
In your dream time, yes.
Okay.
I can send it to you right now, but it may not unfold until you dream.
Ah, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bashar. We
You are
love you.
welcome.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
When you speak of us being in the graduating class, what do you exactly refer to?
I refer to the idea that, as you say in your language, Earth is an advanced school. And therefore, this is not a kindergarten. This is the playground of souls who are very strong, who are here for a very particular purpose of assisting humanity evolve, and therefore this is a master's degree program. It is, shall we say, not for beginners.
Right. I feel that I'm in that program, and it might be a possibility for me to actually graduate during this lifetime.
Yes, it's possible for many of you. You may go on to other things. You may stick around in spirit to be spirit guides for other people going through similar things that you've experienced in physical reality. You will have a choice. You have free will as a spirit as well to decide what you would like to do next. So if you feel that you're truly done with the earth experience, you'll move on. That's your choice.
Okay, thank you. That was one of my other questions. And I know this has been done not very often, but when a human being leaves this earth plane, it is possible to take the physical body.
No.
Or
no.
Not take the body up, but dissolve the body at the time of
Oh,
death.
yes, it can turn into, and this is what happens in our civilization. No body remains behind. We simply convert back into energy.
Right. Is there something we need to know so that we can do that more readily?
Why do you care?
I'd like to do it.
Why?
I don't want to leave my body behind. And the other reason is
Let me put it to you this way.
yes.
If it is necessary and relevant for that to happen in your life, nothing will stop it from happening. But I will also say this. When you transition, you won't care anymore about whether you left a body behind. And you will understand that there may be purposes in leaving the body behind for those that remain in physical reality, so they have something to relate to about the idea of honoring your passing.
Possible. Yes.
So
thank you.
it'll be okay whatever happens. You will understand it from the spirit level as something that is necessary, because it's not just about you, it's about others as well.
Yes.
So if it needs to happen, it'll happen. If it doesn't need to happen, it won't. And just let it happen in the natural way that it needs to. Eventually, humanity may evolve to where it is no longer necessary to leave the physical form behind, but that may or may not be the case now. So you will know what the case is when you transition back into spirit.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yes.
When we arrived here on Friday night and we slept at the hotel and I woke up the next morning, either it was that I had such a profound sleep and I just felt that woke up really rejuvenated, but the first thought that came to my mind was that my subtle body was up in a spaceship.
Well, yes, many people will remember that you have encounters in the astral form very often. It's not always that you're taken physically into ships. When you travel astrally, when you're asleep, you have many different experiences and do often visit our ships, our planets, so on and so forth. Sometimes you remember it as a dream, literally or symbolically. Sometimes you don't remember it at all because it's not relevant for you to remember it while you're living your physical focused life. But yes, you're very busy. Remember, when your body is asleep, your spirit is awake all the time. It never sleeps. So you have many different kinds of experiences and adventures in many different forms when your body is asleep.
Right. Is it possible then to heal on a subtle plane in the subtle body, and then when you come back into the physical body, that then it affects the physical body in a positive way?
Yes, unless another process is physically necessary for you to learn a lesson. Then you will not avoid that. But yes, fundamentally, it is possible to allow the subtle body, the astral body, the energy form, the spirit, to realign itself in a way, and that can be one skill that humanity is learning, to allow the physical body to align with that and, shall we say, rewrite the template. Mm-hmm. So yes, it's possible. But are you at that stage where it's something that can happen without you avoiding a lesson that you agreed to learn through the physical realm? So as long as it's not avoiding a lesson, then yes, it's possible. And it might be a skill you need to learn.
Okay.
And that's where medicine is going anyway on your planet. It's all about resonance, frequency, and realignment and connection between the physical and the non-physical.
Mm-hmm. Ever since I'm a child, my right side of my brain feels very different than the left.
Yes, well, they are different.
They are different, and yet one's so heavy and it causes pressure. I don't think it's a medical thing necessarily, but can you give me some insight?
No, it's an energetic thing. Mm-hmm. Remember that you're simply the kind of spirit that is not used to the idea of what you consider to be the rigidity of physical reality, which is represented by the logical side of the brain. You are more intuitively connected, and therefore the creative side of the brain feels more freeing than the logical side of the brain to you. Mm-hmm. And that's why it feels heavy.
Yes, it does. Thank you for that.
So you have to balance that out in your definition. Both are fine, and you need to create a balance between them. One technique we have given to do that is by focusing on the idea of the infinity symbol, going from one hemisphere to another through the center of the brain, through the corpus callosum, and balancing the left and right hemispheres in such a way that they can function in a more balanced way, and that allows both sides to feel more equally light and equally balanced. So you can focus on the idea of the infinity symbol this way, passing energy back and forth and back and forth and back in a meditative state, and it can allow you to feel a little bit more coherent, a little bit more cohesive, and a little bit more balanced as time goes on. All right?
Oh, thank you. Very helpful.
All right. Thank you.
Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Ha'atu, I love you.
Ha'atu.
I come with a friend. Her name is Lisa.
Yes.
And she was born with a kidney disease, which retained all the water and her body swell. So she understands she has a negative belief system. So she thought that she was bound by this genetic disease, and also that her parent has it and some of her children has it. And she's asking, can you help her to break through her negative belief so that she can heal her body?
Not without communicating with her privately, directly.
So she should book a private session with you?
If possible. But the idea is that there are others who can help her with this beyond us. Ask her spirit guides for assistance with this idea, since we are not really allowed to interact directly with you with regard to health issues.
Okay, thank you. So my second question, Lisa and I are going to Skinwalker Ranch after this gathering.
Are you sure you want to?
Yes, 100%.
All right.
And we know that there is a ship under the mesa.
Yes,
in
there
the
is.
Skinwalker
A very
Ranch.
ancient one.
Yes. Is any tips or any things you can suggest us to make our physical contact more probable?
No, not at this time. Just go and see what happens.
Okay.
Because it will depend upon your energy as to what opens up in that area for you. Because there are portals in that area. And your energy and your vibration will align with whatever needs to happen for you. But yes, there is an ancient ship buried in the mesa. It is still active and still giving off vibrations that help stabilize the portals in the area.
So we intended to do a meditation on the Skinwalker Ranch. Is any suggestion that you will suggest us to do? Which kind of meditation?
No, I just said go and see what kind of energy you bring. The intention you have going in will determine what opens for you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm from Canada. So yeah. Hey. So the question we have, I have two spiritual teachers, big prediction telling us that Trump will win and we are going to migrate to moon, migrate to Mars. I have a spiritual teacher, another side told me, Camilla's going to win and with the open contact and we're going a better earth. So I'm very happy because no matter who wins, I will have a better world. So my question to you is, how does the upcoming election impact especially the humanity and especially Canada?
One moment. We are checking something. Because generally speaking, we are not really allowed to comment deeply on your politics. But since things are changing somewhat in the near future, we are checking to see what we are allowed to say. I cannot give you specifics about the country of Canada. I am allowed to give you some very general specifics about the election in the United States. However, there must be caveats with this, since we are normally not allowed to comment on such things. There are certain things we can say, but if we say them, because it is your world, are you willing to take responsibility for the responses of your population to what we are about to say? And before you answer, think carefully about what that means. Are you willing to take responsibility for what we are about to say? Be sure the answer is yes.
Yes.
All right. This is what we are allowed to say. The female will lead to open contact. Do I need to say more?
No.
Are you willing to take responsibility for the information?
Yes.
The male will lead to the termination of the United States and World War III. End of comment.
Okay, my last question for Shah. Is this okay, or I should go? Okay, so my last question. When you're talking about the 5 years, within 5 years, having open contact, and what are we preparing to do? So in my mind, actually, I've been willing to hopefully set up a center, training center for my hybrid children, as I have many of them, to teach them.
Then follow your passion and see what happens.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ha'atu, love you.
Understand that what we have been allowed to do here today is highly unusual and only indicative of the fact that you are closer to contact than you were before. One moment. Open your hearts, open your eyes, open your minds, and you will know the path before you that is toward us. This has been a public service announcement. You will not know who that was until later. But we have introduced them already last night of your time. Next.
Greetings, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Such a pleasure and amazing to be here with you today after feeling like I've been calibrating with you for a long time.
All right, it is our passion and our pleasure as well.
Thank you.
What would you like to discuss?
So I've been, throughout my years, visited many times, seen and been visited by different crafts, but there hasn't been a pattern. Each one seems to be very unique in its lights and colors. My question is can you tell me maybe which race I'm more connected with, or my energy is more dominant with?
Well, you are connected to Pleiadians and hybrids. There's a few smatterings of others as well.
Syrians?
Some, yes.
Okay, so that was the first question. Is there one that I could maybe potentially connect with more on a deeper level that you feel?
If you will participate in what we talked about that you call CE5s, you understand this term?
No.
Going out with groups to certain areas and opening up communication, shining lights, and getting answers from ships that will appear and give you responses and things like that. That is the idea of close encounters of the fifth kind, CE5s. If you will participate in gatherings or create your own gatherings to do so, this can help open up avenues of communication and connection for you to those to whom you are most strongly connected.
Thank you. I'll definitely try that out.
All right.
On a Another question is going to be more personal to me. I think the easiest way to frame this would be a three-part question.
Is that a sneaky way of asking three questions?
No, it's one concept, but with three different elements that are all connected.
All right.
This has been a deep fear of mine for a long time. The first one is snakes.
Snakes.
Snakes. Since I was a child, I've had sort of like a primal fear of them. In many ways, I feel like I was harmed by them.
No. But the idea is that it connects to the symbol of ancient wisdom, and it connects to the symbol of genetic alteration, because you're part of the hybrid program. And it connects to certain species that give off a certain frequency and a certain energy that allows you to feel that you need to go into survival mode when exposed to it.
So this leads to the reptilians, which I would like to have more perspective from you on, because it ignites fear within me.
I understand. They're not necessarily malicious, but they don't necessarily have, shall we say, humanity's best interests as their highest agenda, but they are kept in check by the other species that do. So they will not ultimately be capable of slowing you down or harming you. It's just that they're on another path, on another course, and they're not really engaged in the idea of the promotion of the evolution of humanity. So any exposure to them simply invokes within the physical form the idea of a fight or flight survival response, because the reptilian vibrational DNA activates the mammalian vibrational DNA in your physical body as the relationship of predator to prey.
Yes.
Doesn't mean they're actually going to be predators for you, but that's the way you respond to their vibration. To some degree, they actually are, well, I'll just put it this way. They're kind of hurt by that.
They are hurt?
They are hurt emotionally by that, by your reaction to them, and therefore they have a kind of resentment against humanity.
Oh.
Because they are seen by humanity's eyes as outcasts. And therefore, they remain in a place where they may not necessarily have your best interests at heart, but the others that do keep them in check and help keep them balanced and at bay, so that they will not interfere with the progression of humanity's evolution. But there is nothing really to fear. They cannot harm you.
A lot of people seem to think that they're connected to the royal lineages on Earth, and they seem to control...
No. That's a fallacy. It is a fantasy. It is a throwback to the idea of the ancient Anunnaki, who did create the idea of the blue blood royal bloodlines. That is simply another way of expressing that the Anunnaki DNA may be slightly more pure in certain lineages on Earth. That's what that's about. But some humans that are involved in conspiracy theories have confused and commingled various conspiracy ideas into the idea that the reptilians are involved in that, simply because of their attitude toward humanity that you are intuitively picking up on. So they've commingled different conspiracy theories, which is one of the reasons why the first step in the Interstellar Alliance social experiment was to let go of conspiracy theories.
So if the Anunnaki are our parents, or don't we have their genetic...
Yes.
Aren't we a hybrid of Anunnaki and
As
the Sasquatch?
I said, you are hybrids to begin with as Homo sapiens. That's why you're already hybridized, because of the Anunnaki genetics that were introduced into the naturally evolved hominid on Earth.
But wouldn't then the Anunnaki come and guide us?
They did. What do you think some of the stories in the Bible are about?
Okay.
Of angels coming down to guide you, of being led through the desert by a pillar of fire and a pillar of cloud. What do you think that's about? It's about the guidance of the Anunnaki, who recalled those who created Homo sapiens because that was against their law to do so. But they then realized that they had to take responsibility for guiding you up to a certain point until they felt that they could let you sort of evolve on your own to see what would happen.
Do you think that though they will return after
They have evolved in a certain way that they are no longer the Anunnaki you knew hundreds of thousands of years ago. Some of them have evolved into what you will now experience as the Pleiadians.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful, and I needed that.
All right.
On a separate note, something...
Oh, another question you've snuck in.
Well, if it's only one more, then I will curb it to... Everyone seems to be talking about the solar flares and how that activates...
Don't worry about it.
All right.
Don't worry about it.
I won't worry about it.
Thank you.
I'll just ask the last one.
Sorry, your card has been punched.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I am nervous. I almost chickened out and didn't come up here, but here I am.
All right, here you are.
Here I am. Last night during the meditation, it came to me that to ask you that are we all just dreaming each other, meaning humans dreaming the other races and the races dreaming us in this grand big story?
Would you repeat that?
Yes. The other races that will be coming to us,
Yes.
are they not dreaming us and we dreaming them in one great big dream?
Yes, of course. From that level, of course. It's
So-
all a dream.
May I ask, when does a dream become reality, or does it ever, and when does reality become a dream, or are they two very separate things?
It depends on what you mean by dream. It depends on what level you're looking at it from. Obviously, there is all that is, what you call the source, the one. In a sense, everything is a dream of the one, but the dreams of the one are what reality is. That's what you call reality, the dreams of the one. The infinite dreams of all that is what you experience as aspects and reflections of the one as reality. Does that make sense?
I need to think about that, but yeah, I think you did answer my question. Thank you.
Anything else?
Yes, passion.
Yes?
I have this idea that passion feels joyous and great and exciting, and that hasn't been my experience.
It doesn't have to. Sometimes passion can be a perfectly balanced sense of peace and relaxation. When we talk about the idea of passion, that doesn't mean, as we say, you have to be jumping up and down and running around with your hair on fire. It means you are simply in alignment and in the flow of who you truly are. And that can be expressed in any number of ways, as long as it allows you to feel that you are yourself. That's what we really mean by passion. Passion is the body's physical translation of communication, messages from your soul, from the higher mind. It communicates in an energy language that your body translates as this sensation called passion, which more often than not is really just about the idea of a focus of something you really love to do. And that can be expressed in any number of ways. So taking action on your passion is the response to the soul, I heard you. And it begins the dialogue so the soul can send you more opportunities to act on your passion. But no, it doesn't mean you have to be running around like crazy. It doesn't mean you have to be jumping up and down with joy every single minute. It means you simply have a sense of your flow, a sense of your purpose, a sense of who you are, and it can be done in a very effortless, straightforward, and peaceful, centered, and balanced way as well. That can be an expression of your passion. Does that help?
Yes, thank you. Last question
Yes?
is a second question from a question that was asked yesterday, the mathematician that had his friend ask the question, so he snuck in again.
Yes.
The question has to do with teleportation.
Yes.
And the question is, can you describe an experiment to see gravity and electromagnetism as related?
Yes, we have already given you that experiment. We'll describe it again briefly. It is the idea that objects that exist in a particular location are not objects in a location. The location exists in the object. Every object can be considered an energy equation. And one of the variables in that energy equation is the variable that represents its location in space-time. If you change that space-time locational variable frequency, you actually change the location of the object in space and time. That's how our ships travel from star to star, is we have isolated the ship, unlocked it from any particular universal reality in a limbo state, and then we impose the vibrational frequency that represents the frequency of the location we wish to go to, and the ship must stop existing at the first location and automatically start existing at the second location without traveling in between, because everything holographically is here and now, and all we're doing is changing the perspective, the angle of observation of the locational variable of that ship and its crew in space-time, which is an illusion. Is this making some sense?
Not to me, but hopefully to him.
All right, but this connects the idea of gravity and electromagnetism and so on and so forth. I'll put it another way. Imagine a Fibonacci spiral. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
All right. So imagine a counter Fibonacci spiral going the other way and overlapping the first one. Can you imagine that?
Yes.
Now imagine that what I'm describing is a simple two-dimensional version of something that is actually very multidimensional. So it would go in all sorts of directions, but for simplicity's sake, just imagine that double spiral, all right? Mm-hmm. There are places where then the spiral, one spiral, crosses the other spiral, correct? Mm-hmm. And it does so because it is a spiral at farther and farther and farther distances, correct?
You are.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we call those nodal points, all right? Those nodal points, depending upon exactly how they cross the other spiral and how many iterations of that crossing there are, actually create the different effects you call gravity, electromagnetism, strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, dark matter, dark energy, so on and so forth. It is that particular structure that can explain the relationship between all the different so-called forces that you experience in your physical universe and show the connection between them all by understanding them as different concentrations of nodal points of a fundamental concept that contains a field of consciousness. So if consciousness as a field is allowed into the equations of your quantum mechanics, you will understand more clearly the idea of the relationship of gravity to electromagnetism and so forth. Now, relatively recently, there actually has been the creation of a new mathematical equation that does allow gravity and quantum mechanics to be combined. And that is the correct direction to go in. But it still must include the understanding of how to quantify and create mathematical representations or geometric representations of the field of consciousness out of which everything is created. And once you include that into your equations, you will understand the relationship. But starting with that Fibonacci double spiral can be a skeleton upon which you can build a deeper understanding of the multidimensional nature of all of those relationships to each other. Will that help?
Somebody, yes. My brain hurts.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Bashar.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
First of all, I want to say thank you for last night and the meditation. The visualization that you gave was super helpful to me because I have a fear of open contact. So
why do you have a fear?
I think it's because the concept of it is relatively new to me. Like, I didn't even allow myself to think about it until a few years ago.
Well, do I scare you?
No,
Well, why not? I'm part of Open Contact.
no. And yeah, so it helped.
Don't rush ahead. Why don't I scare you?
I guess maybe it's because I can relate to you.
And what makes you think you can't relate to the others who will come through Open Contact?
Well, honestly, it's the way they look. I mean,
The
I
way
know
they
that's-
look.
It's scary to me.
Oh, scary. Are you afraid of animals?
No.
Don't they look very different from you?
Yes. I know.
Well,
it
why
doesn't
aren't
make
you
sense.
afraid of them?
I guess I'm used to them.
You're used to them. Mm-hmm. Do you think you can get used to us?
Yes,
And then you won't be scared?
absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
So you understand it will not happen faster than you can handle.
Right?
Yes?
Yes.
Because what will be the point of that?
Correct.
Above and beyond all, Open Contact is logical. We understand what you can handle. We understand that it makes no sense to give you more than you can handle. The process is in your hands. We're taking our cue from you and the pace you say you can handle. We're not forcing anything on you at all. So even though we gave you that exercise, the fact that it is just an exercise is what allows you to decide at what rate, at what pace you can handle it.
Okay, so when you talk about the shifting to the new earth, and those that follow the formula and have broadened their bandwidth have the opportunity to make that shift.
But you're shifting now.
Yes. But this is my question. So it feels similar to the story of the second coming of Christ in the Bible.
Yes, well, the idea of the second coming is actually the awakening of the Christ consciousness in every single individual.
Okay.
It's not about the coming of a single person.
Okay.
It's about the same thing as opening up to the Buddha nature, the Krishna spirit. Same idea. It's allowing you to be who you truly are as a full soul.
Great. Okay, that's good. So that's what I was thinking too, so I appreciate that.
Oh, all right. Thank you for your synchronicity.
Sure. And then I just want another quick question so other people have a chance, but why do humans experience time in a linear fashion?
Because that's what allows you to experience growth, discovery, and change. In a timeless state, there's no change, there's no growth.
Okay.
So it's the way in which existence allows you to experience the process of change, so you have a deep appreciation that allows you to learn lessons and discover something new, because the structure of existence never changes. It's your relationship to it, your experience of it, and your perspective of it that does change, and that's how creation expands. Make sense?
Yes. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Hi. I'm Kumiko from Japan,
Yes.
and he is my interpreter, Akira.
Hi, Bashar.
I have a question. Cosmic beings communicate telepathically, right?
I thought you said you had an interpreter.
I'm going to translate what you say.
Yeah.
So she tried to speak her own
yeah.
words in English.
Yeah.
Try to. Yeah.
Do you understand when I am about to say in Japanese? 私たちがお互いの言語を使わずに意思疎通するにはどうすればいいですか?
Interpreter.
Okay.
That's
okay.
the cue.
Okay.
No.
Remember, I am not speaking any language at all.
Sure. The
I am
question
simply
was,
sending thoughts that are translating into the language that the channel was raised to understand.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to translate that to her, but the question was, will you be able to understand what she's going to say in Japanese by telepathy? But you already answered that question right now, so I'm going to explain.
Some beings will, yes. And In the telepathic contact, you may hear them in your head in your own language.
Oh, okay.
But that's not what's happening here.
Okay.
言語で。
わかりますか？
あ、
だからバシャール
one
は、
moment.
そのダリルを通じて
Yeah.
翻訳してるから、この日本語で聞かれても分かりませんよと。
Okay. During channeling, even when the channeler is not conscious, does the channeler's language ability limit what can be understood?
We do not understand what you said.
Okay.
Allow the interpreter to do his work.
Okay.
Yeah.
どれ
だからチャネラーの
これでしょ
こう意識がない。いやいやいや。
こっちね。チャネラーに意識がなくてもチャネラーの言語
No conscious.
で理解できる内容が。Okay, so during the channeling, Daryl has basically out of the regular consciousness level, and so, but
The channel has consciousness, it's just not focused in his normal way.
right.
Oh, okay.
And I think go back to the reply that you already gave us, but the understanding by you, Bashar, is limited or controlled by the language level or the information level understanding of the channel himself, or does it surpasses the capability of channel?
The information can surpass the channel's knowledge, but very rarely does the language surpass the channel's vocabulary, because we use the channel's vocabulary as a translation device to translate our thoughts into your language, at least one language that the channel understands. On rare occasions, we can supersede the language, but it's very rare because the channel was simply not brought up to understand other languages. So that's the limitation of the translation device that the channel functions as, but it's one of the reasons why the channel was encouraged to have a very large vocabulary even as a child, because that's the path the soul chose, so that even at 1.5, the channel was reading at an adult level.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you. なんとなく分かった今言ったこと Okay. I
Okay.
guess you understand
Okay, I
what you
see.
said, so
Yes.
just gonna skip the translation now.
What are some important tips to remind people on Earth to communicate telepathically?
Again, you have to be in love. You have to be on the same wavelength. It's love that does it. Those that are in love know what each other are thinking because you're having the same thoughts at the same time. Remember, telepathy is not reading each other's mind. It's reading your own mind, but you know you're having the same thoughts as someone else who's on the same wavelength.
Okay, I see. And another question.
Okay.
Yes?
Another question.
Maybe she doesn't need
Yeah.
my translation.
Yeah.
She got it.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Will that
read-
do?
And more another question.
Yes.
I read the book in Japan. The book said Bashar is a star. A star is the captain of Interstellar Alliance.
We
Are
do not
you-
understand what you are saying. Please use the translator.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so she read the book in Japan, and the book said that Bashar is actually the Ashtar.
No,
Okay, that's what I
that
thought.
is
but-
incorrect.
She wanted to ask that question to make sure that you get the that she
Yes.
get the answer from you.
That is not correct.
Right.
Okay.
Will that do?
Last,
大丈夫ですか?
大丈夫です。
What?
Last question. Yeah, last. Really last. Is there a star or members of Interstellar Alliance in the audience as well? Audience.
Members of the Interstellar Alliance in what?
Audience. In the audience. Huh? Yes.
Okay.
in the audience.
Are there or is there Ashtar or the member of Interstellar Alliance in the audience right now?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Yes. So I haven't really known you that long. It was just last March that I came here and listened to your transmission. And I've been following the formula really, really seriously and listening to a lot of your transmissions.
All right.
And loving it.
All right.
And I'm noticing in my mind that I get this like Swiss cheese mind, and I'm not sure if it's part of the evolution of my brain shifting, toxicities and or other things, and I'm wondering what your
Well, what are you describing as a Swiss cheese mind?
That I'll have thoughts, and then all of a sudden they disappear, and I have to wait for them to come back.
Yes, sometimes this can be a symptom of understanding that memory is actually created in the moment. In my civilization, we don't have a memory as you understand it. We simply know that we will know what we need to know when we need to know it, not a moment sooner, but not a moment later. Living completely and utterly in the present can simply cause that symptom to start happening until you get used to the idea that you will simply know what you need to know in perfect timing and won't need to retain it as a memory.
Okay, thank you. The other thing is, am I part of the hybrid project?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to give you all a little bit of a hint.
That we all are, since we're here and love this.
If you have found us, you are probably involved in the hybrid program in some way, shape, or form. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be having these conversations.
And do I have the hybrid children?
It doesn't always mean that your genetics was used to create hybrid children, but it might mean your energy patterns were used as a kind of a template upon which to build the hybrid children. It may mean that you are involved in helping to teach the hybrid children how to acclimate to Earth society in certain ways, because you are very foreign to them and they don't understand how things work on Earth. So there may be many ways in which you may be involved in helping the hybrid children understand where they are coming to live.
All right. Were my nightmares as a child part of that?
Yes,
Okay.
because you didn't understand what was happening.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Hi, Bashar.
And are you good day?
Thank you. It is a good day. I was curious when you said you were checking with people. Who are you checking with when you need to see if an answer can be given?
Many different beings. Councils, other beings that are observing Earth, beings that are in contact with the collective consciousness of your world to let us know what it is that's appropriate to say and what it is that might interfere with your particular path of evolution, so that we do not overstep our bounds.
So there's hundreds or thousands?
Thousands.
Great. No pressure. Got it. Okay, so I just found you like maybe 6-8 months ago. I really appreciate your teachings. One of your transmissions that's really helped me is letting go of limiting beliefs.
Yes?
I've been working through that quite a bit.
Oh, all right. How exciting.
Yes, it sure has been. And also Willa's teachings.
Yes.
Is she around?
Well, she is always around and accessible, even though it may or may not be appropriate for her to come through at any given moment.
So would she be listening right now?
She is aware of what is going on.
That's so cool.
It's whatever temperature you want it to be.
So our meditation last night was quite enlightening.
Yes.
I was curious if your spaceship is over us or was over us last night.
Well, it is over Bell Rock, as it has been for quite some time from your point of view.
Oh, cool. Did you see me wave at you the other night?
Let us put it this way. We felt the energy waves from all of you.
Awesome. So one of my greatest passions is working with animals.
Oh, all right.
Animal rescues specifically.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm emotional already on the sudden. A lot of my animals, they tend to get symptoms that aren't explainable.
Well, they are explainable if you understand them as reflections of the different things that humanity needs to look at within itself. Because one of the most unconditionally loving things that animals are here to do is reflect to humanity the things they need to clear out within themselves. So if you understand that they may be representative of different things that humanity needs to look at within its collective or individual society members, then you may understand what it is they are reflecting and what it is they may allow you to discover or go through that may eliminate the idea of those conditions in the future.
Okay, so when vets can't figure it out, when they don't respond to treatments in textbooks ways, they could heal themselves just kind of miraculously.
It is possible, but again, if you cannot find the reason for what's going on, you may have to look deeper for the reason, into your psyches, into your emotions, into your belief systems. It may not be solvable by standard surface medical approaches. You may have to look deeper within.
How would you suggest I do that in my life with my
By
animals?
having honest self-investigation. It may not necessarily even always be representative of you. Just because you're interacting with them doesn't mean they're reflecting something to you personally. Sometimes they may, but sometimes they may be reflecting things that are about humanity in general. And therefore, it's giving you an opportunity to understand all the different things that humanity itself needs to look at within itself, and you can be of assistance in perhaps bringing that to the attention of humanity as to what those things represent that they need to look at.
That feels really big.
Well, yes, it is, but not bigger than you can handle, because you're really big too.
Okay. So I have felt a little bit held back with all of that.
Because?
I feel that I need to be there for them.
Be where?
Be at home with my animals.
Yes.
This is the first trip I've taken in 9 years.
All right, but understand that they understand what you're doing.
They do.
Yes, of course they do. They're intelligent beings.
Yes, they really are.
Yes, I know. That's why I said it. Do you understand that they chose to be with you?
I needed to hear that.
They don't make mistakes about who they're with. The animals choose to be with you all. So if they're with you, they understand the work you're doing. And they understand that sometimes you may need to go on trips. Don't worry about it. Love them as best you can, as unconditionally as you can, and let them reflect to you what it is they need to reflect to you, but understand they chose to be with you. They will allow you to do what you need to do. They know what you're doing is benefiting all of them.
Thank you for saying that.
Of course.
Because I often feel...
Guilty?
No, I feel like people judge me.
So guilty.
Is that the same?
Well, taking on the judgments of others means you're judging yourself to be guilty of something. Okay. Otherwise, why would you accept their judgments against you if you know they're not true? In the same way that if a stranger came up to you on the street and said, "You're a bad person," you would go, "Well, that makes no sense because you don't even know who I am, so why should I pay attention? That's just your issue." So just because you may know the people who are judging you, why should you take what they're judging you about to heart unless you're judging yourself for the same things and finding yourself to be guilty?
A limiting belief that I need to get rid of.
There you go.
Yeah. Got it.
Because how does it serve you? Because you don't hold on to things that don't serve you.
Yes.
Remember, sometimes people that act like victims remain victims because they use victimhood to get what they want. Therefore, they believe being a victim serves them.
Right.
And therefore?
Well, I'm here, so...
Yes. But just because you're here doesn't mean you have to change. That's in your hands.
Right.
So it's up to you to decide whether or not you have reached a point where you are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yep.
All right.
May I
Yes?
ask a question about frequency and vibration?
You may ask anything you wish.
Thank you. So I Googled it, and it said that those are two different things. But I feel
Yes.
like in this context, those two terms are used interchangeably.
It can be. It depends on the context here. But again, the idea is that vibration is just an undulation. Frequency is a measured undulation of a particular vibration relative to a certain point in space and time in terms of when it passes that particular point and how many times per a measured time it does so. So one is a little bit more technical about the pace of a vibration relative to a certain fixed point in space and time, and the other is just a general term of things that are undulating
Thank you.
at any particular given rate.
And it seems as though when we talk about high vibration, high frequency versus low vibration, low frequency,
Yes.
there's a positive with the high and a negative connotation with the low.
Yes, often that's the case.
Well, going back to animals and our companion animals like cats, they purr at a lower frequency, and that's
That's
known
not
to...
the same thing.
Can you clarify it for me?
There are different kinds of resonant frequencies that mean different things in different contexts. Certain physical frequencies have nothing to do with the frequencies that we often talk about. In fact, sometimes the frequencies that we refer to in humanity are things that your science doesn't even know anything about yet. We're just giving you a general barometer of where someone may be on their journey in terms of whether or not they're operating in flow with themselves or operating in resistance to themselves. So the idea of the way we often use frequency relating to a human being is just a very general barometer of how they're doing. And it's not necessarily as specific frequencies in physical reality that may be caused by certain functions within animals or other phenomena.
I see. Thank you.
So we understand that language is limited, and sometimes it does require clarification and a context to understand what we are referring to. So thank you for being willing to ask questions that help us clarify those ideas.
Thank you. And I was just wondering, besides our clear budding friendship, do I have like a personal relationship with extraterrestrials?
I wonder what that answer could possibly be. Are you capable of answering the question for us?
Sure.
Is that sure you're willing to answer it, or sure you have the relationship with extraterrestrials?
Ooh, I guess I'm not sure, and that's why I'm asking.
Why wouldn't you be sure? You're talking to an extraterrestrial.
Right. What about the others?
What about the other whats?
Extraterrestrials? Or is it just a me and you thing?
Oh, you flatterer. Every human has connections to some degree with extraterrestrials. Pleiadians, Arcturus energy, hybrids, grays, Sirius beings, mantis beings, and several others that we're not necessarily allowed to talk about yet, but will arrive in the near future. Now, the idea is that not anyone that actually has those general connections energetically necessarily has a lot of extraterrestrial encounters on the path in life. It may not be that important for them to interact with that extraterrestrial energy, even though you all have those general connections. So the real question is, are you involved with extraterrestrials in more than a passing way in your particular life path?
That's a good question. What's
Well,
the
thank
answer?
The answer is yes, you are.
Cool. I love
Oh,
that.
there's that temperature again.
No. Are there any animals in particular on Earth, that I could serve better?
Well, better how?
Providing them sanctuary?
Cats.
How did you know?
Oh, good guess.
Particularly, why cats?
Because they can see into other dimensions and they'll tell you a lot about what it is they see.
Thank you.
And there's one of them speaking up now.
Probably.
Plus, their purr vibrations are very healing.
Yes, indeed they are. Do you have cats where you come from?
We don't have pets. We have many interactions with animals, but we don't have pets in the way that humans classically think of having pets. Animals interact with us all the time, but we don't look at them as pets.
I guess I don't either.
All right. Then you really are operating as an ET.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, Bashar.
You are
and
so
everyone
welcome.
else. I love you.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so grateful for everybody here. Also, the volunteer team that I'm a part of. It's just been such an amazing experience. So, thank you guys so much. Woo! And always, thank you for your service. You have been so instrumental in my healing, and I want to give you just a little bit of my backstory in terms of like the limitations that I have lived in, like through my own creation. Yes, I was born in a dense reality with a lot of abuse, and then I was addicted to heavy drugs, not the good psychedelic kinds, but
Sounds exciting.
Yes, for like 6 years, and then eventually I got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Oh.
And so there came a point where I was like, okay, we have to do something different. And so today we're going on almost 5 years clean. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, what did you say? 5 years?
Yeah, what's 5 years?
How synchronous.
Woo! I just got it. That's what I'm talking about. And, back when I was on drugs, I was in and out of the justice system as a defendant, as a jailer, and I became a jailhouse lawyer. And now, guys, I'm in law school, and I actually left law school to come here because this is my highest, law school is my passion, and being able to bring consciousness into a field that so desperately needs it's just part of my passion because I see how a lot of people are crumbling at the seams of their beliefs and how it shows up in our behaviors.
Yes.
And so it's really cool, being in this space, and, I'm like, I'm gonna go to law school because why not? And so this is part of my joy, and this also will bring up the topic that I really want to talk about in terms of plant medicine, because Mama Aya has been such a powerful teacher. I want to be the ayahuasca lawyer, okay? I don't know how I'm going to bring it into the system, but I realized that could be a really cool program to implement for defendants, essentially, is to be able to bridge that gap. That'd be really cool, but...
Yes, do you have a question?
Yes, I do, and we're getting there. So Mama Aya told me in one of my sessions, because I'm also apprenticing under a shaman, about positive beliefs and releasing that too. And I have released a lot of negative beliefs, and I love finding beliefs, kind of like, oh, cool, something to release. But she also was saying how there's, to some degree, healing modalities here on earth could be boggling us down from really diving deep in that New Age spirituality, and this is not to invalidate anything, but New Age spirituality can kind of create that spiritual bypassing. And I wanted to know your take on New Age spirituality and how it can actually bypass the inner work that needs to be done in order to heal. Because as a transformational life coach, I see this with my clients where they go on these amazing trips and have all these wonderful insights and listen to you, and yet action is not translating, yes.
All right.
Okay.
In a sense, we understand what you mean by spiritual bypass. Now, technically, there's no such thing as bypassing what you agreed to experience on your life path.
Okay.
However, you can accelerate things. You can speed them up by tuning into certain spiritual concepts that allow you to function in a greater flow, to be more of yourself. And that's part of the lesson to learn as to how to experience the idea that you chose to experience on your life path. Quickly, more smoothly, or slowly, with more struggle, and so on and so forth. So it's about the idea of the speed, the scope, and things like that you can change. It's not exactly a bypass, but it's learning a lesson that allows you to experience what you chose to experience in a more fluid and efficient way, to learn those lessons more fully, more quickly, so that you don't necessarily have to spend any more time than it is absolutely necessary, minimally, to spend as a physical process to allow you to experience the depth of appreciation and discovery and lesson that will allow your soul to grow. So yes, you can mitigate some of it, but you will never bypass anything. But that's what spiritual bypass actually is meant by. The idea of speeding things up, learning things more quickly, recognizing the signs more quickly, sooner, that you can act on more positively, more directly, and so on and so forth. Does that help?
It helps. However, I feel like when I mean spiritual bypassing, yes, and that was all great, but the knowledge is not translating into action for some of the people that I'm working with.
Yes,
what
that's
is it?
true,
Is it
and you can't force them to do it.
Oh, absolutely. I've already given up on that idea. But what is it that's creating that gap, essentially?
Fear.
Okay.
Remember, it's love or it's fear.
Got it.
And the idea is that positive and negative is generally associated with the idea of love and fear. So in their belief systems, they're holding on to things and not taking action because they have in their motivational mechanism a belief that says that if they do take that action, they believe something worse will happen than where they are now. As uncomfortable as it may be, it feels safer than the alternative because they're defining the alternative as being worse or more dangerous or scarier.
Got it. So redefine what...
They have to look at their motivational mechanism about why they're holding on to what they're holding on to, because you don't hold on to anything you don't believe serves you. So even if it's something that you intellectually know doesn't serve you, you will still hold on to it if it's the safer alternative to what you believe would happen if you changed.
Okay.
Because you always go to what you believe serves you. You always move away from what you believe does not. Always, without fail. So the moment you see somebody holding on to something you know doesn't serve them, you know that that means they have a belief the alternative is worse. You have to find out why they would believe that and allow them to see the nonsensical attitude they have about that, or how they have learned to see that thing being so blown out of proportion that they can't understand it logically in any way, shape, or form that would allow them to move forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
I'll keep probing then.
Oh, all right.
For some who will allow that, of course.
But again, of course, there is the overall caveat that no matter what you share with them, what they do with it is none of your business.
None of my business, yeah. I was so attached to the results initially, and that was so exhausting. I'm like, I just do what I can, and if they match that vibration,
that's all you can do.
Yeah.
That's how you help, is you give them the option, to make a choice.
Yes.
But you cannot tell them what to do, because really, you don't know what their life path is, and you don't know what they do and don't need to learn in this life.
Very true, very true.
And remember, you're eternal infinite spirits. What's your hurry?
Right? Very good point. 2 more questions. One is about, could you tell us about the core wounds that humans grow up with? And this is that fear of abandonment.
About the what?
They're called core wounds. So the fear of abandonment is one that, like, just these conditionings essentially, but there's abandonment, there's the lack of self-love or the feeling of unworthiness.
Yes.
There seems to be a pattern that has been going on. Like, what created this, and how?
Forgetting who you are. Forgetting who you are. One of the tenets of allowing yourself to go through a physical earth cycle is the idea of cleaning the slate, forgetting who you are, and thus taking a journey to help you remember who you are from a new point of view. However, because of the depth of that experience in the earth cycle, you can forget who you are to the point of actually experiencing a simulation of disconnection from source. And that simulation of disconnection, of course, you're never actually disconnected, that's not possible. But the simulation of disconnection from source can seem so real that you actually don't feel your connection to source, and the lack of feeling of a connection to source translates in your reality as a lack of worthiness. You don't feel you're worthy to exist.
I see.
So that's where it came from. And the idea is, again, this is why it's a master graduating class, because you have the strength in your soul to even overcome that. And again, even if you don't in one particular lifetime, you always have another chance to do so if you really wish to. So again, it's something that souls choose because, hey, that could be a very powerful, transformational experience if I can remember that I deserve from completely forgetting that I deserve. And it's like going on a roller coaster ride and saying, well, all right, this time I sort of fell out of the roller coaster, but I'll do it again, and maybe next time I'll get the point, and I'll have the help and be open to the help that I receive to help me remember that I am worthy, I am deserving. But again, souls go through this because it's exciting and it's something that can really help you grow. The degree of limitation, again, this is why we call you the masters of limitation. The degree of limitation a soul imposes upon itself is inversely proportional to the degree to which the soul will expand if it overcomes that limitation. So you choose massive limitations because it's so exciting to imagine that if you overcome it, how fast you will expand and what lessons you will learn and how fast you will accelerate.
Story of my life. Like, my goodness. I love this. Thank you for that. And then the last question, okay, so it's what does Gen W and Gen Z need to know about each other to better relate to each other?
I think you will ask the generations about that and not us.
Okay. Sorry, girly. Well, that's it. And thank you so much. I
You are
love
so
you
welcome.
so much. Thank you.
You could start a panel of those generations and have them start talking to each other.
Hello, Tadeo.
Nania, is it time for your holotope meditation?
It certainly is.
All right. Then we will disconnect momentarily and resume transmission to take you through your holotope meditation. Thank you. How's it going? Yeah? All right, I'll say, let us continue this transmission, this day of your time, by allowing each and every one of you to become relaxed, to breathe deeply and easily, in and out, in and out, to let go of the cares of the day, to breathe rhythmically, deeply, like the waves on the ocean as they lap upon the shore. Allow yourself, eyes closed or eyes open, to regard the holotope in front of you as a reflective pattern of your multidimensional selves, your multidimensional souls, and reflect upon all of the attributes and connections that it has. If you wish to begin with your sights and your sounds, let them grow as you drift more deeply, floating freely upon the currents of the ocean of creation. The holotope before you representing the infinite connections you all have to a multitude of multidimensional aspects and multidimensional beings that all together form all that is. Continue to breathe in and out, In and out. In and out. And take a deep breath in and hold it. And blow it out. And let go. And feel your body relax. Feel the warmth or coolness pass over your body, allowing it to relax, allowing it to become comfortable, at ease, at peace, and energized. The deep, deep energy within the core of your being, filling you with the vibration of your true essential self. And as you do so, and as you regard this holotope, imagine all the perspectives of all the beings that are engaged with you in contact, peering at you through this mirror, seeing you as patterns of energy, as patterns of light, as patterns and vibrations of love. As they reach out to you, as you reach out to us, and take our hands in yours as you allow us to take your hands in ours, so that together we may move forward in the evolution of consciousness, in the evolution of experience, in the evolution of knowingness, and the evolution of the expressions of unconditional love in all the ways that all that is has and is, of expressing itself through each and every one of you, through all of us. As you continue to breathe, imagine once again that shining ship floating above the shining sea as you stand on the shore of a new adventure, of a new reality, of a new cycle, of an opening of awareness, the opening of a door to infinity. As you gaze upon that ship, gleaming in the light of the sun, as you gaze upon that ship, gleaming in the light of your moon, as you gaze upon the lights of the ship, bathing you in a beautiful glow, as you stand upon that shore, breathing and just feeling the connection coming to you from that ship. It has finally arrived, the timing of contact, the timing of connection, the timing of communion. Allow yourself, as you stand upon that shore, to feel the ocean waves lapping at your feet, and the rhythm of your heart and the rhythm of your breathing begins to match the waves as they gently lap upon the shore and start to connect you to each other and start to connect you to the ship and to the energy and the beings in that ship. Feel the link, feel the connection to your galactic family, the connection to the love, the unconditional love coming from us to you. emanating from our hearts, from our souls, from our bodies, from our spirits to yours. We have accepted your invitation. Now accept ours to join us, to connect to the earth more deeply, to nature more deeply, to the stars more deeply. Allow yourselves to feel, as you stand upon the shore, that you are becoming lighter and lighter and lighter, and starting to lift off the ground, and yet remaining connected through energy. As the earth buoys you up, lifts you up, higher and higher and higher into the air. And as the gleaming ship rises with you, higher and higher above the earth, into space, and to the stars. And as you feel the promise of home, the promise of remembrance, the promise of life, the promise of joy, the promise of love and light. As you float among the stars with us, seeing the infinite capacity, the infinite connections, the infinite potential of all of the lives in all of the civilizations throughout the cosmos, different flames that burn bright in the darkness, connected to one another in a vast net, a vast web of life, of energy. One beating heart that sends wave after wave after wave of energy out into the cosmos. Crystalline bubbles of energy, moving beyond the speed of light, instantaneously encapsulating vast distances of space and time, incorporating vast civilizations in multiple dimensions. Out and out and out, never stopping, never ending, experiencing the infinite vastness of all that is, with no beginning and no ending. Its beauty, its power, its compassion, its unconditional support, its unconditional beingness, its unconditional existence. As you feel your souls weaving into the very fabric of space and time and existence itself, as part of the infinite tapestry of life, of consciousness, of awareness, of being, part of the infinite tapestry of all that is. As you float freely in this infinite void, full of light, full of stars, full of beings, full of hearts, full of minds, full of souls and spirits, full of paths that are unique as your own, and yet interwoven, interconnected like the threads in this tapestry, part of a whole, the whole that supports and serves the parts, as the parts support and serve the whole. Together as one and yet unique individuals. Perfect reflections like a web of pearls, each pearl a perfect reflection of all the other pearls in the net, in the web, stretching to infinity, inward and outward. Continue to breathe and make this your own, for this is the promise of your being, eternal, infinite, no beginning, no ending. Your greatest power, the power to choose, to experience, to live, to be. One and all and one. Love and light. This is your home. This is the promise of existence. This is who you are. This is who we are. Let us come together now. As one. As one. As all, as one. Continue to breathe. Continue to be. Open up, relax, come back to yourselves, and awaken into a new world, a new reality, a new beginning, a new cycle that will carry you beyond the stars, beyond what you now know, into infinite beauty in all of its various forms. The vibration of the eternal, the vibration of the one. Awaken to your new self. Breathe in and out. In and out. And carry this crystalline reality with you. Within 5 years, 5 times around your star. It is here, it is imminent, it is now. The time has come to awaken to a new world. Be at peace and welcome home. Allow your music to soften. Allow your lights to dim and just float freely in the beautiful, supportive void, in the arms of creation, of all that is. You are worthy, you are deserving, you are beautiful, you are joy, you are light, and you are love. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. And remember what you are and what we are. For I am you from another point of view, and you are me from another point of view. We are each other from different points of view. We are the all and we are the one, together, forever and ever. Our unconditional love to you all. Welcome home. Good day. Aveo. All you will ever discover